Want to go to Galicia? Nope, not that one, this one. Or maybe visit Luxembourg. No, not the country, the adjacent Belgian province with the same name. You know what? Instead, let's just drive to Andorra. Oh no, the GPS set it to Andorra in Spain, not sovereign Andorra next to Spain. Europe, what the f are we doing? All over the continent, there are places with the same name. We have Valencia in Portugal, but also Valencia in Spain, or the one in Ireland. If they all suck, we can always try Valence in France. Now, some of these are connected. The one I mentioned earlier of Luxembourg in Belgium and Luxembourg itself, for instance, but some have zero connections, like Iberia, an ancient kingdom from 300 BC that existed in what is now Georgia and Armenia, which has absolutely nothing to do with the Iberian Peninsula. The peninsula takes its name from a term used by the Greeks and Romans to describe the pre-Roman inhabitants of the peninsula, particularly along the Iberus River. In the Caucasus, Iberia was the Greco-Roman name for the kingdom of Kartli. The etymology of it is less certain, but may also stem from a local river or tribal name, adapted by Greek geographers, so in that case it would be a similar river origin, despite remaining unrelated. This Iberia, by the way, neighbored another kingdom called Albania, also completely unrelated to the one that we have today in the Balkans, which comes from the Albanoi, an Illyrian tribe mentioned by Ptolemy, while the native name of the country is Skyperia. Caucasian Albania, on the other hand, comes from something that meant like white, referring to the snow-capped mountains. So in this video, I thought it would be interesting to learn about a handful of these examples and understand why so many places in Europe share a name. We gotta start with the one on the thumbnail. Galicia in Spain and Galicia in Poland and Ukraine. The Spanish Galicia lies in the northwest corner of the Iberian Peninsula facing the Atlantic. It's a culturally distinct region with Celtic roots and its own Romance language, Galician, which is fairly similar to Portuguese. The name Galicia stems from the Roman province Wallachia, named after the Galaici, a group of Celtic tribes, likely deriving from a Proto-Indo-European root, Gal meaning power or bravery. Polish and Ukrainian Galicia, by contrast, was a large territory in southeastern Poland and western Ukraine, established as a crownland by the Habsburgs. After the partitions of Poland in the late 18th century, it was a part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It derives its name from the medieval town of Halik, which is today in Ukraine. Halik comes possibly from a Slavic word, alka, meaning jackdaw, a bird. Latinization then turned Alikina into Galicia. Despite the identical spelling, there's no shared origin between the two. Their connection is purely coincidental. And what about the two Luxembourgs? Luxembourg, the country, is a small, landlocked Grand Duchy bordered by Belgium, France, and Germany. It's actually the last Grand Duchy in the world. It shares linguistic and historical heritage with its neighbors, and was part of the Holy Roman Empire and later the Netherlands and Belgium before gaining independence in 1839. The Belgian province lies just west of the country, and was once part of that same political entity throughout most of Europe's medieval history. During the 1839 Treaty of London, the Grand Duchy was divided, with the western part annexed by Belgium and the eastern part remaining independent. Both names stem from the medieval Latin Lucilin Burghoek, meaning little castle, a reference to a 10th century fortification. In this case, the connection is direct. They were originally part of the same territory. A similar set of examples can be found all through Europe, especially in cross-border regions like Tyrol, Austria, and Italy, historically a single territory within the Habsburg Empire, divided after World War I. Its name may come from a local castle. Or Lapland, part of Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia, which refers to the northernmost regions of these countries inhabited by the Sami people. The name comes from Lap, a term once used for the Sami. Now, remembering the differences between all of these names takes some energy, and what better way to get it than through the sponsor of this video, Huel. I don't like coffee, so when I feel the need for some energy, I always resort to drinking soda, but I can't drink soda early in the morning. Since partnering with Huel, I discovered how great they are for feeling satiated in the morning and ready for the day. Huel is a complete meal in a bottle with over 27 vitamins and minerals and full of nutrients. They're low on sugar, coming in vanilla or chocolate flavors, and they actually taste really good. There's no prep or cooking required. You just grab it and you are ready to go. To make it even better, they are super affordable, coming out to less than $5 a meal. If you want to try it out, go to huel.com/GK and use the code GK for 15% off. That's huel.com/GK. And now let's get back to the video. One particularly interesting one is Gallipoli in Italy and Gallipoli in Turkey. Gallipoli, Turkey is a peninsula in the European part of the country. It's famous for the World War I campaign, and its name comes from the Greek Gallipolis, meaning beautiful city. Gallipoli in Italy is a coastal town in Apulia, also derived from the same Greek root. It was at times a Greek colony, and retains a name that points to Magna Graecia's influence in southern Italy. The link is etymological and cultural. Both places were Greek colonies, and the name reflects the Hellenic urban naming conventions with the poly part. There's no direct connection between them historically, but they both illustrate the widespread imprint of Greek colonization along the Mediterranean. Even more interesting than that are these four cases: Wallonia in Belgium, Wallachia in Romania, Valais in Switzerland, and Wales in the UK, which, despite being written differently, are the same name. All of them likely stem from a common Proto-Germanic root, Valhas, meaning foreigner or Romanized person. Germanic tribes used it to refer to Celtic and Latin-speaking peoples. Wallonia is the French-speaking part of southern Belgium, named from the same root, referring to Romance speakers as opposed to the Germanic Flemish ones. Wallachia is a historical region in southern Romania, and its name comes from the Slavic Vak, which comes from this Germanic origin. It's used to describe Romance-speaking shepherds, or people of Latin origin. Valais is a Swiss canton in the Alps where French and German are spoken, and the name has similar roots in Latinized tribal names. While Wales is the western part of Great Britain, its name in English comes from the Old English Vealas, meaning foreigners, which is ironic because the Welsh were the native Britons. These names collectively reflect how Germanic-speaking people labeled neighboring Celtic or Latin speakers. They're completely unrelated from a territorial and even political point of view, but the linguistic connection is still strong. Cymru, the endonym for Wales, and Cumbria, the region of England, are another similar example. Cymru comes from the Brittonic Combrogos, meaning fellow countrymen, while Cumbria, a county in northwest England, shares the same root. It was once part of the Brittonic-speaking kingdom of Reged and later Cumbraland, the land of the Cymri. Both names come from the same ethnic identity of native Britons that resisted Anglo-Saxon conquest. Over time, the populations of Cumbria became Anglo-Scandinavian, while Cymru retained more of its language and national identity. Again, it's a country today within the UK. The names reflect a once shared Celtic linguistic and cultural heritage. Plus the other one we mentioned at the start, Andorra the country and Andorra the small town in Spain. The Principality of Andorra is a sovereign country, although its heads of state are technically the French president and a Spanish bishop. It's located in the Pyrenees between precisely France and Spain. Its name likely derives from a pre-Roman, Basque, or Iberian root, possibly meaning shrine or forest, maybe also with an Arabic root. And it could also derive from the biblical place name of the Valley of Endor. There is also Andorra, a town in Spain's Aragon region. It likely shares the name by linguistic coincidence or through some medieval naming practice. Maybe it was named after the country itself. The other one is so predominant that I couldn't even find the specific etymology for this one, so the best option is just to guess. It's not and never was connected politically or administratively to the principality. The duplication may reflect a spread of ancient root words or toponyms, based on geographic features like valleys, and there's hundreds, if not thousands, of examples of this throughout Europe. I asked this question on the geography subreddit, and I got a bunch of replies of different examples within Europe. And if we expand this to the whole world, there's even more. European colonialism alone led to thousands of cities being called Berlin, Paris, or London. So essentially, places in Europe share the same name from one of 3 or 4 reasons. They either belong to the same historical region, and despite a modern border dividing them today, each kept the same name. Maybe they're not adjacent and don't share history together, but the etymology, the name's origin and meaning, is coincidentally the same. Or one was named after the other, paying homage to it. Or maybe they just share it by coincidence and there's no connection whatsoever. Are there any other examples of places with the same name that you know of? Let me know. And thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you next time for more general knowledge. To upgrade the mug to a water bottle because it's like 40 degrees this week and my hair is a little out of control, so I'm gonna wear a hat for this video. And I'm in a different angle because it's still very chaotic here, but it's okay.